Hi there. We're continuing our walk through the chapter of 1 Corinthians 13, and it's commonly called the love chapter. And the Apostle Paul describes what love looks like. And we've looked at a whole host of things that it wasn't, three things that it wasn't, and we've looked at a whole host of things that love does. Love is patient, it's kind, etc. And so it's active. Love in the heart produces action in various ways, and so we've kind of taken all those apart through the course of these videos, and we've come to verse 7. Love believes all things, hopes all things. Now we come to the last of that, which is love endures all things. The word endure just means to hold up under. It's to stand up underneath something. And it's interesting because we sort of live in a culture that uses the phrase like, I just can't stand it. I can't even, all these things where there's a lot of statements, especially when it comes to relationships, about how we just can't handle a person, can't deal with them, can't stand them, can't be around them, just unable to endure another person. And what's fascinating is that the Apostle Paul, when he talks about love, he says, actually, love is able to endure everything. When we think about love, as we've been doing for each of these videos, we want to divide this into the ideas of loving self and then loving others. And when we love ourselves and we come to other people, what happens in our relationships with them is that we just are quickly overcome in those relationships. It's easy for us to just cut people off. I can't endure this anymore. I'm done. I'm just done with this person. I can't stand them. And we turn away and we walk away from them. When we love ourselves, we just give up on people. Especially, we just become totally unwilling to care for those, particularly those who have sinned against us. Or who might seem helpless or difficult to handle. We find ourselves just willing to turn away from people arbitrarily and say, I'm just kind of done with them. I don't want to handle that anymore. I'm finished. Or unwilling to endure with them in seasons when maybe they're struggling. But when we love people, what happens in our hearts? Well, what happens is we learn to patiently endure with the sins and failures of other people. We're always willing to go back to the table and discuss and to seek reconciliation. We're willing to endure no matter what sins are committed against us. There's a willingness to endure those sins for the sake of reconciliation, for the sake of peace. Why? Because ultimately in our hearts, we're loving that person. And so our goal, our desire is for there to be that sense of reconciliation, of peace with that person. We're willing to seek peace with them because we're willing to endure whatever they do to us. That's exactly what Paul the Apostle described in Romans chapter 12 when he said, as much as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. When we're treated unfairly, when we're criticized, a person who is able to endure all things, they stand firm in those places, not in a place of firmness and stubbornness, not an unkindness, but just the opposite. A heart of love produces a heart of endurance for people that can sometimes grate on on us, cause us like very intense hardships, and can sometimes even persecute us. But when we love that person, even especially when we love our enemies, what happens is our heart is willing to endure those things and to truly care for them. Perhaps you've been in a situation where someone's treated you unfairly, where you've been treated in an unjust way. One of the hardest things in the Christian life is to deal with injustice. It's very challenging because in our hearts, we sort of expect justice to happen. I don't know why. We all do that, though. We sort of expect justice. And when it doesn't happen, we find ourselves often bitter and angry because we haven't received the treatment that we rightfully deserve. But what Paul here is saying is that when that happens to us, we're not going to cut off that person who's treated us in an unjust way. What we're going to do is reach out to them, not with harshness or critique or criticism, but we're going to reach out to them with love, enduring the mistreatment that we've received from them. It's incredibly difficult to do, but this is what love in the heart does when a person who truly loves another person is willing to come and seek them out. They're willing to endure even the most uncomfortable situations, even the most unjust situations, for the sake of the other. And what a perfect example we have of this in Christ, right? He was willing to endure all things for our sakes. We treated him unjustly. And what he did in response is not cast us off, but to love us, to patiently endure with us, and then to bring us to himself. This is what it means to love. And this is where, in our culture, when we say, oh, I just can't stand that person, I can't handle them, what we're really expressing is not that they're so bad. What we're really expressing is, you know what, I'm so bad. I don't actually love them, so I'm rejecting them. I hope this is encouraging and helpful for your heart as you think through your love for other people. Thanks for watching.